a lot of AI glasses coming out since last year, I think. And many of the glasses, they're made in Shenzhen.
Yeah. What is the
百进大
expression?
战.
Oh, yeah. And what does it mean?
The competition among 100 and 1,000 of AI glasses. The fundraising amount is very impressive. Come to China.
Go to China.
See it for yourself.
Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of XR Café, a series interview with XR leaders. Today, I'm happy to interview Kristen from Beijing. She worked in venture capitals in China, with the US, and also with different Chinese optics technology companies. Thank you for joining me, Kristen.
Hi, Oscar. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's kick things off. First of all, you have a great experience and knowledge of the Chinese venture capital as well as, optics technology business, and also selling those to Western markets. First of all, what brought you to optics after working with VCs?
Well, when I was working with VC, I have a lot of insights or opportunities to really know more technology companies. And from that perspective, I really want to dig deeper into the real tech world. So, the hardware thing is always my favorite part of a technology side. So then I went to work for a technology company.
Awesome. And actually, for people, there's a lot of people that might be listening to us that don't really know, okay, what is the behind the scenes with optics? Because a lot of people work on the software or the marketing of this product, like usually, for example, in Europe, we're not really producing those. There is some companies, I think in France, for example, there's a company called Optinvent.
Yeah.
There's companies there, but in China, I think there's way more. Can you share a little bit, how is this business? Is it companies based in some big cities and then the manufacturing is made in Shenzhen? Just what's the overview of this optics business?
Well, I think the optics business is, especially in XR industry, it's very specific and it's very important to all the kinds of XR hardware. Either it's an AR product, probably we use, the see-through, optical see-through lenses, and also in VR industry, the VR product. The mainstream gonna be pancake lenses. So other than display panels, optics is the most important part in all the hardware products. We can see, AI in the AI era, the software is very important for sure. And besides software, you need a real user service by using the hardware product. So that's why the hardware is kind of like the front door, right? It's the first gate that you enter to the digital world. So I think that is very meaningful, and there's a lot of opportunities in the future.
Actually, where are these made? Is it all in Shenzhen, or is there a specific city where all these optics are made?
I think for now, a large portion of component part outsourced in China, and specifically we call it Greater Bay Area, and including Shenzhen and the part of Guangdong area. So we actually see there's a trend that a lot of a technology company, they set their hub and they set their maybe entity company in the US, and then they build a brand there, but they outsource component and the manufacturing to China. So we actually bridge that San Francisco area or specifically, the rest of the world hardware companies to Greater Bay Area in China.
And Guangzhou is next to Shenzhen, is it close by? Okay. And do you feel like it's mostly in Shenzhen, the manufacturing, and maybe in Guangzhou, kind of the offices? Is it how it's splitted? Or not really?
Company, they have different offices.
Okay.
Just, separate in the Guangdong province. Either in Shenzhen, Dongguan, or Guangzhou. There are multiple companies settling there.
Okay. Very interesting. And you were saying before that, the AR part, let's say for AR, VR, is a very specific part because obviously optics can be used for very different kind of use cases. Are companies building for AR, VR different companies, or they're usually just optics company that have some of the department work on AR, VR?
We see, many traditional optics company, they just do the regular the glasses, the prescription lenses. In the past. Well, nowadays, we're in the digital era, so they really want to innovate and they really want some advanced technologies which can add value to their business. So they step into with digital lenses. We see a lot of companies, they're making either AR lenses or the VR pancake lenses. So it's quite, spread out. But there's also many advanced companies, advanced technology companies. They're just focusing very much on the technology itself. So there's a barrier, and there's, I think, the quite technology know-how within it. So I think it's not an easy technology for sure, but there's a great opportunities in there.
Okay, awesome, very exciting. And actually, my next question would be, especially as I feel China is usually ahead in a lot of ways technologically, where do you see the optics business going in like 5 to 10 years in China? Is it going to be like an incredible business that's going to keep growing with all of these devices? Maybe everyone on Earth will have AR glasses or VR headset at home.
Yeah.
What's your feeling with this?
I think it's a very good question. In optics industry, especially in XR, it really depends on the market size. And it really depends on how the industry gonna develop in the next 5 or 10 years.
And okay, also I was wondering, who are for you the leaders of optics in China? What are, I don't know, the 2-3 main players for this industry?
Yeah, well, I think each company has their tech specialities. They have their own advantage. For example, a lot of you guys probably know a lot of component company in China, so not all are the same. Some may do the reflective waveguide, some may do the diffractive waveguide. All different technology solutions, they goes to different products. So I think the market gonna be booming. Meanwhile, there are also, a little bit competition between different solutions.
Okay, another question about optics. Which country do you think might be able to also produce optics at scale? Because I know, for example, in Israel, I believe there's Lumos, I believe there's a lot of optics manufacturing. Yeah, who is for you another country out of China that is strong on this?
Outside of China, it's very diverse.
Okay.
You already know Lumos from Israel, and there's multiple companies in the US, and they do optics themselves. And also a few optics companies in the UK. For example, Wave Optics.
Yes.
They have been acquired by Snap a few years ago. So it's quite diverse. And also, I think in Europe, especially in France, the optics is the very strong traditional industry.
Yeah.
And I think there's much room for the industry to, maybe acquire the advanced technologies in it. So I think it's going to be very diverse.
Okay, awesome. And next question, I've heard recently that there was a term in China now, as there's a lot of glasses coming up, called the War of 100 Glasses or something. Can you tell me what's the name of this and what is it about?
Yeah, so it's very interesting topic. A lot of AI glasses coming out since last year, I think.
Yeah.
And many of the glasses, they're made in Shenzhen.
Yeah.
Maybe the different are whether you can do a great form factor and whether you can integrate with your AI models, and how's your feedback from the customers. So, from the hardware perspective, I think many of them look the same. So you really need to think about what is your edge, what is your advantage that can be added to your product.
And what is the name of this? Because I think it's the War of 100 Glasses, but I'm not sure exactly the terminology. What is the expression? And what does it mean?
The competition among 100 and 1,000 of AI glasses.
Okay, no, it's awesome because it's something I very little saw in the West news, let's say.
Yes.
So this tells a lot, because usually from my experience, I feel like China, I go there almost every year for like the past 15 years. I feel usually at like 3 to 5 years ahead in technology. So maybe in 2 years, maybe in in 2027 or 2028, maybe we'll have the same terminology. So thank you for sharing with us the future.
Sure.
And yeah, also related to glasses, you've had, working with optics, you have good insights on the Chinese market glasses. Which ones for you do you think are the leaders and I think are in the best position for long-term success? Because I think I've heard of, for example, Rocket, if I'm not mistaken, has raised about $500 million total. I think
Yes.
Rainio, if I'm not mistaken, $200 million, and so which in yuan for the first one is a couple billions.
Yeah.
For the second one is also one and something billion. So yeah, who do you think is in the best position to lead the future in the Chinese market?
From my point of view, I think the fundraising amount is very impressive, especially for such consumer hardware industry. But from my point of view, I do think whether you can make a good product, whether you can make it work, and because it's a problem of physics, and this is the free market, I would say. This is the real, feedback from your technology part. And well, on the other side, how's your feedback from your customer? And the point behind that, the logic behind that is you really need to ship out your product in the real world. So that cannot be fake, right? And you need to listen to your customers' feedback.
But who do you think does it the best and does the best products? So far.
You mean the
yeah. Like I mean, yeah, because from here we don't really hear as much of the news of each of these companies. I know they have a lot of news in the Chinese market, but
Yes.
it's not as like we don't really have the insights.
Yes.
And so maybe I don't know if maybe Rocket is obviously the strongest, or maybe it's another one. Like it's hard to tell from here.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people mentioning about even reality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And also Viture glasses. So I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Okay.
Either from form factor or from the image performance.
Okay. And you think this could be the one leading this industry moving forward?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
But it really depends on how the company development strategy. Because the different tech solution, they can really lead the company to a different, development stage.
Okay. And you worked previously with some venture capitals, and you still are working actually with Chinese one and actually US ones. Can you share more about how Chinese tech venture capital work? What are they looking for? Like, how is it different from what you would see in the US?
Well, I think venture capital's business in China is more different than before. Because a lot of Chinese venture capital fund, they're backed by the government, or at least a part of the funding from the government. So it's very important for them to scouting startups working in the industry that government really promoted to. For example, do the hardware thing, we do the semiconductor, and we do the EV, some years ago. And that is the mainstream, I think, in China market.
So to my understanding, it's something we don't know as much here, is that a lot of the time, even like startups with glasses stuff, when you look at the detail of the funding, it's like a province funding, because obviously a province is like the size of a country in Europe. And so the government is a big backer in a lot of ways, either regionally or globally. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So actually, which makes me think a lot about how Silicon Valley started, because as you know, at first it was, to my understanding, it was a lot of military-based companies on the coast, and they basically funded a lot of companies to back this, and actually it was the government that kind of sponsored the beginning of the existence of Silicon Valley.
Yes.
So it's very similar, because it's interesting, because it seems to be similar in China, and it just maybe we don't have Chinese government communications in English about it, so we don't really know, except if we're checking Chinese news, right?
So recent years, Chinese government in the investment sector, they plays a very active role, either to foster the hardware technology startups, or to open up the policies, and they really want to help the companies to go abroad and to sell abroad, and also to be a global brand. They may be roots in China, but they do the global business. So I think they play a very essential role in this part.
Awesome. And actually, what do you feel is the next major tech that is being actively worked on in China right now? Is it maybe quantum computing? I don't know. What do you feel is the next big thing that in China right now is like the thing to work on?
Yeah, I agree with you. The quantum computing is one of the most important industries in China, and some other industries like the hardware technologies.
Regarding China expansion, we talked about glasses earlier, but when I go to China, I've seen incredible new products like foldable computers, foldable phones, electric cars everywhere. Some are really AI powered, and they can even park that by themselves.
Yeah.
But they don't always sell those in the West. Either it's a phone, either it's a car. What do you think is the bottleneck for these companies to sell these products abroad, maybe in Europe, maybe in the US?
Yeah, I'm really happy that you found a lot of interesting technologies and many intelligent hardware in China. Well, actually, yeah, since we're in Paris, and I'm sure the rest of the European countries are similar. We haven't seen many EV cars on the street. I think one is because there's regulation from the government side. For example, as far as I know, the French government, they really need to, have a test results for the EV car before you can operate on the street, right? But you should first drive on the street, then you can get the test results. So it's kind of like opposite, either from regulation part and the industry part. And well, maybe I think they are working on this right now. And the other reason might be the cost. The EV car, for example, in China is relatively cheaper, right?
Yeah.
But if
200%.
if they sell it overseas, the cost is gonna be a rise. So
you feel it's more competitive locally than internationally.
Exactly.
Do you think there's a lot of import fees between countries?
Yes, I also think so, because in robotics, the tariff is very high, and it's the shipping cost is relatively high as well.
Okay, great. And related to tariff, as the US has had a lot of tariffs, it seems like it's been an opportunity for some countries to strengthen their partnerships.
Yes.
Let's rely on the US. And actually, I feel like I heard recently that Europe has imported more products from China than they used to be before the latest tariff.
Yeah.
Which countries do you feel are the new strongest partnership for China since, I don't know, the last 6-12 months of this new tariff?
I think European countries are becoming more acceptable to Chinese products. And, since there's a different cultures between eastern part and the western part, I do think we should focus more on the complementarity between the two parties rather than, competing or
Absolutely.
Especially since new products or new technologies coming like day by day. So probably I think there's much more room for collaborations in the future.
And are there some specific countries where China has already intensified partnerships specifically? Is it on an area maybe? Is it, I don't know, anywhere?
It really depends on what products.
Okay.
A lot of consumer technology, it goes to, either US or Europe or wherever, because it interact with people, right? But for some other specific industries, it's really a niche market or a really specific market to that.
Okay, because I know also for example, in Asia, there's a lot of countries that are close to China, but it's hard for me to tell which countries have the strongest kind of ongoing import-export. Is there one like is it like a Malaysia or like some, because I know some countries are huge over there. Is there one country in Asia where you feel the bond is the strongest? I know there's Russia next door, but let's say more on the other part of Asia. Yeah, well, is there one country you feel would be the closest partner to China right now?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay,
I
not
don't
one
think so.
specifically. Okay.
Yes. For technology, it's just
India
we're
maybe
living
a
in
little
one
bit?
world.
Yeah, but maybe India, because both countries are so big, so maybe there's some more collaboration. No,
No, I don't
no,
think
no,
so.
no, no. Okay. And one more thing, I think before we wrap up, there was last week the French president. Macron visited Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and they've met multiple times across the last couple of years. Should we expect more investments from China in France? What do you think is going to be? I mean, from what you hear in the Chinese news, I actually didn't really check the news since last week because I was busy with the conference we went to. Where do you feel is going to be the relationship moving forward between China and France?
Well, I actually saw a lot of very positive news over there, and the president Macron was very welcomed by people in China.
Yeah, I know they like him a lot, I think.
Yes. So I think there's many collaboration opportunities, either from the culture side and the technology side, and also a lot of interactions should be happening, I think, in the coming years. Well, just like what we said, the Eastern culture kind of have a high density of collaboration. Well, the advantage is that it serves a large group of people, the population, right? But on the other hand, the Western culture is kind of like low density, and the downside would be the output is relatively low as well. So a lot of companies, they outsource the product to China. But I think since the collaboration is being built between two countries, so there's a lot of opportunities either from tech or from the culture exchange. So I'm really promising to that.
Oh, and to wrap up, if anyone is interested in working in China or with Chinese companies, they're not familiar with this ecosystem, and again, there's a lot of different services, language different. What would be your best advice?
Come to China.
Go to China.
See it for yourself.
That's true.
Yeah, you can't just read the news. You can't just stay at home just to search online. You really should come to China and to experience yourself. And the culture really different. You need to embrace the culture as a world citizen.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what my feeling when I came the first time, 15 years ago. I was like, oh, everything is different, but it's super interesting because it gives a lot of new perspectives, and even Chinese society. It's super interesting to get new perspective and to see how such a big country also operates. But thank you so much.
Sure.
Thanks for joining for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I was gonna say, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment or let me know if there's any feedback you have for the future episode. And I'm really glad I got Kristen. She came from Beijing. She's in Paris right now. We got really lucky to have her in person. And so please make sure to follow her for latest update. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Thank you, Oscar.
Bye-bye.
Bye.